Good morning. I call to order the Board of Directors sitting for a regular board meeting on August 14th, 2024. Mr. Lack, would you please lead us in a
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we want to thank you today for these people that showed up, Lord. We just ask blessings on their family. We ask blessings on their farms, Lord. We always ask for your guidance. We always ask, Lord, that this group of men have all the things that they need from you, Lord, to make this a great place for people to work and function. We ask it all in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Ludwig, will you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Welcome to all of our guests. We'll start with those present. Mr. Simona.
Good morning, Ryan Stronald, the Interstate Street Commission.
Steve Hernandez, Carl Battergate, District and Legal Committee.
Mark Janello, Las Cruces Hydro Service.
Good morning, Michael Riley, Las Cruces Irish.
Byron, EBID.
Thank you very much. I think, let's see, Mr. Narvaez coming.
James Narvaez, CBA.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, would you please announce those present online?
Yes, Mr. President, we have Kate Maynard, C. Owens, Billy Maciel, Jennifer Phillips, Jared Hennessy, Keith Dinos, Dr. King, and Cheryl Smith.
Thank you very much. Before we get to the approval of minutes, I will note that the agenda items for the board meeting of July 24th have been incorporated into today's agenda. And as opposed to dealing with all of them first, we will simply deal with them when their topic arises on the agenda. So that brings us to approval of minutes. We have four sets of minutes on the agenda for approval. The minutes for July 24th board meeting are not yet complete, as that board meeting was reconvened and completed today. So those will be on our next board meeting's agenda as well. With that, we have minutes from the July 10th board meeting and our two interview board meetings on August 1st and August 2nd. Are there additions or corrections to the minutes as presented in your packet? Hearing none, I will accept the motion to approve the minutes for what was the first date? July 10th, August 1st, and August 2nd. I have a motion from Mr. Ludwig to approve the minutes of July 10th, August 1st, and August 2nd.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Garai. Any discussion? Hearing none, discussion is closed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The President, the ayes have it. The motion passes unanimously. That brings us to the calendar of events. Mr. Esther.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Not much on the calendar for August. We do have a stormwater coalition meeting tomorrow at 1:30 at the county government complex. I don't have a room number yet, but certainly that will take place tomorrow. Next week, we have a Bureau of Reclamation Rio Grande Headwater Tour. And we have had approved 4 representatives of EBID to attend that Rio Grande Headwater Tour. It will begin on the morning of the 20th and end on the afternoon of the 22nd. Going from representing EBID will be our Vice President, Rafael Roli Rosa. We'll have Eric Fox from our staff, Joel from our staff, and Alex Rubio from our staff to attend that tour. On the 28th, we have a regular scheduled second monthly board meeting. That'll be at 9 o'clock. Turning to September, the district will be closed for the Labor Day holiday on September 2nd. We have a regular scheduled board meeting planned for the 11th of September. Again, the Stormwater Coalition meets on the 19th. And we have a second monthly board meeting on the 25th scheduled at 9 o'clock. And there could be, and will probably be some meetings scheduled within that month, but we don't know for sure the dates. And that's it, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Esslinger. Are there any questions on the calendar? Very good. Hearing none, we turn to water resources. You have all received Dr. King's written presentation. And with that, Dr. King, you have the floor to present the highlights for our allocation and reservoir storage.
Okay, is that showing up okay on your screens?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, once again, I will be brief. These are our current storage conditions. We've got 192,000 in Elephant Butte, about 28 in Caballo. We have already released 500 and call it 20,000 acre feet as of August 12th, end of day. And so a seasonal supply of about 712,000. We've got inflow coming in at about 300 acre feet per day, which is 150 CFS. As you will see, that's probably not so much from water. That's not from water flowing past San Marcial gauge because there isn't any. There's water in the low flow conveyance channel, but a good bit of that is probably water that's coming out of bank storage as the reservoir level drops. This is a snapshot of the river stations going from Cerro, New Mexico, up near the Colorado state line down to San Marcial. You see that in the upper river, we're a little shy of average, running about 80% until we get down into the middle Rio Grande reach, at which point it drops off. Bernardo is essentially dry. San Marcial, the river channel, is dry. It's just water in the low flow conveyance channel. And it's basically almost dry all the way up to probably the vicinity of Santa Casia. This is a look at the runoff, basically a summary of the year. The upper line you see is Otoe gauge. Keep in mind that that does also include non-native water in the flow. The orange line that you see is the net inflow into Elephant Butte, which is what counts as the delivery to the delivery by New Mexico. And they're actually that big lump in the middle there from May into the beginning of July is the spring runoff. And we did okay. I don't have exact numbers on how much San Juan Chama water is in the Otoe gauge that you see there, but it does appear that New Mexico is doing better on their compact deliveries this year than they have in recent years, basically because they couldn't store any of the native flow upstream. So it has been helpful to their deliveries, although that same inability to store water upstream is probably going to lead to some shortages in the middle Rio Grande as the season winds down here. The precipitation hasn't changed a whole lot since last month. We're still running about average for the four precipitation basins snowtail basins that we look at. Again, this starts October 1st and runs till September 30th for the water year. So this is nearing the end of the water year for these accounting purposes. Looking at the forecast, once again, I sound like a broken record. Expected to be dry and hot for September through November. And that is getting to be awfully typical. We did have some decent monsoon, as you certainly saw, and including up here in the middle Rio Grande. But that appears to be winding down. I will say we had thunder and lightning last night, which terrified my dog. The drought monitor has really not changed much since last month either, so I won't dwell on that. I'll just move on. We've picked up about 16,000 acre feet since the July 10 board meeting. And the net inflow from March to July into Elephant Butte has been about 220,000 acre feet. So even though this is getting to be symptomatic of our runoff seasons, but you saw that we had roughly average precipitation for the water year, but we're going to be, it's looking like we'll be less than 50% for the spring runoff. The compact delivery, as I said, we're doing better than they have in the past few years. I can't really tell you if they're going to be negative or positive just yet. Again, I don't have the San Juan Chama component of the Otoe flow, but it's looking, they're definitely looking like they're closer to it than they have been in recent years. The drying has started. You'll see some zeros in the river already. One thing that I noticed had changed is that the minimum Elephant Butte storage is estimated to be about 87,000 acre feet as of October 3rd, which is when it would bottom out. And that's roughly the time when reclamation is, these are based on reclamation's simulation runs. And that is down from last month, and the error bars are narrowing, so it's getting to be more certain, but we're looking at a minimum storage of about 87,000 acre feet with about 13 or 14,000 in Caballo at minimum. For those folks up at the reservoir, that translates to a water surface elevation in Elephant Butte Reservoir of about 4294. I think it's 4294.23 is what they actually listed on the website, but that's about where we'll bottom out in Elephant Butte Reservoir. And with that, I would take any questions.
Mr. Rosa.
Dr. King, if we get a similar snowpack to the 23-24 season in the 24-25 season, what would the allotment potentially look like for 25 irrigation season?
It would probably be lower, certainly to start, because as you see, we're gonna run down to 87. We'll be down probably 100,000 acre feet of total storage, and we definitely started out the 24 season with more water than that. So I would imagine that we would be looking at something in the 6, just to give you order of magnitude, something like 6 to 8 inch range. We started out 2024 better than we're going to be finishing it.
Thank you. Any other questions for Dr. King? Mr. Ludwig?
Dr. King, based on the storage, will El Paso #1 have any storage for next year?
I beg your pardon?
Will El Paso #1 have any storage in the Elephant Butte for next year? Carryover?
Yes, I believe they will have some carryover, particularly when we do the, we haven't done an allocation since May. And what we'll do is we'll catch up and allocate all the way through the end of October. And I would imagine that that's going to give them some carryover. I don't have current charges for EP1, so I can't get a real good handle on the actual diversion ratio. I think we are probably at the end of the year, we're going to come out. I wouldn't count on a lot of carryover storage for EBID because again, allocated starting with a diversion ratio of 0.87. Subsequently reduced that to 0.841. And I think actual is probably going to come out a little bit lower than that, but EP1 probably will go into it with some carryover.
Other questions for Dr. King? Dr. King, I have a question on the forecasted 87,000 acre feet at season end. I'm having a tough time getting there from a back of the hand calculation based on where current storage is. The fact that EBID is about to shut down orders and what I would expect EP1 to be taking from now until the 1st of October. How do they get that low? Do you have, I mean, it seems low by, 20 to 30,000 acre feet.
Oh, let's see here. I believe,
They're a large chunk of water they're gonna leave in Caballo?
yeah, we're no, the Caballo, the target is, or the forecast is like 13 or 14,000. That does seem a bit low. I'll tell you that. Let me go back and look at the forecasted release pattern, and I will get back to you on that.
Thank you. And unless there's any objection from the board, you can report that at the next Water Resources Committee meeting.
That's fine.
Hearing no objection from the board, any other questions for Dr. King? Thank you very much, Dr. King. Mr. Narvaez.
Good morning. I believe you have a handout for the report this morning. All right. Let me share the screen real quick. Okay, just to give you a report of what's going on as of just today. This is today's morning report. On the array, we have approximately 889 acres on order. The order currently is 200 CFS, or about almost 400 acre feet. Leesburg has 1,552 acres on order. Current order is in CFS is 250. CFS east side, 780 acres still outstanding. Again, 200 CFS on order. The west side has 3,687 acres on order, and the order is called for 390 CFS. So total release for today and probably the rest of the next couple of days is going to be about 1,000 CFS, which is about 2,000 acre feet per day for the rest of the season, which is basically today, tomorrow, and Friday. What we're looking at. I want to add a little graph here for you just to show you the month of August where we were and how the acres peaked out. Starting in the beginning of August, we were around 10,000 acres and kind of worked away. Demand dropped significantly during about the 5th or the 6th for some reason. Maybe just getting rejuvenated, reorganized, and different crops coming in or whatnot. But then the order picked up. Key to note, or one thing to note on this report or this graph here is that this day here on August 9th, this was the last order day. We peaked out at 15,163 acres. And since then, we've been whittling away at that, and currently on order today, as far as acres are concerned, 6,900 acres on order. We're pulling about 2,000 acres per day. So that puts us on track with today, tomorrow, and Friday to reaching zero for sure by Saturday as we begin the transition of the irrigation season. Again, we had one flat rate weekend in July. I reported this on the last board meeting because it kind of fell in there. And also no ditch breaks to report as far as that was concerned there. And these are the July numbers here that I have reported to the, for EBID as far as the end of the month and what we did. Deliveries, 951 deliveries for the array. Irrigated 17,940 acres. We delivered 6,900 acre feet. The diversion was 15,904 acre feet. Leesburg, 1,494 deliveries. Acres, about almost 20,000 acres, delivered 7,900 acres, acre feet, excuse me. Diversion was actually 17,000, almost 18,000. East side, 422 irrigations or deliveries, acres, 10,000, almost 11,000 acres delivered. The charge was 5,900, almost 6,000 acre feet. And the diversion was 12,000, almost 13,000 acre feet. And the west side, 764 deliveries or irrigations, again, almost 17,000 acres delivered. 8,100 acre feet delivered to the farms, and diversion into the headings was 20,680. For a total of 462 acre feet delivered for the month of July. Estimated so far in August, we're at diversion as far as into the headings. We've diverted about 28,384. We're looking at about adding another 6,000 to that, so we're gonna get close to about 34,000 delivered for the month of August. Okay. Based off of that, just those estimates, we're gonna probably be close to the balance of EBID's balance, and then we get to that here in 2024 charges. I'm assuming it's still sharing the screen. But this here is the actual front sheet that I send off for EBID's official charges. Of course, these are still subject to revision. We're not done with the season yet. But this is what we send off. And just to give you an idea, we're using 174,000 747 acre feet allotment. And the district balance based off of all the usage and the numbers I just presented to you. At the end of July, we're at around 39,000 acre feet still outstanding. But we've already knocked, like I said, 28,000 of that for the month of August. So we're getting close. We won't reach actually zero, but we're getting close to that point here. So that being said, as far as the acres are concerned, we're well on target as far as delivering the last demand. So I don't see any issues with that. If for some reason something were to happen where we had to extend a day or so, I mean, we could certainly look at that. But the way we're working at it right now, the acres are falling quick. People are getting their water. Acres will start disappearing because there's some that, you order 100 acres, but they only have 25 acre feet worth of water. So some of the acres might be a little inflated a little bit at the end there. But we're going to be on target of meeting the demand. We're not going to turn anybody away. So everybody who places an order is getting the water. So we're looking good there. But other than that, pretty short and sweet. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Yes, sir.
Mr. Tyson, we have a calculator. The loss ratio on the west side appears to be higher than the other. Why is it?
Okay, let me look at what you're looking at.
I'm looking at delivery versus diversion. So that's off the top of my head, I think.
Let's see, delivery. Well, the west side does have an awful lot of loss. We have a lot of carriage on the west side. We're upwards around 70 CFS carriage losses on the west side. So we do lose quite a bit of water for carriage on there. But it's just that's actually should be more, in my opinion, but we kind of hover around that because we're able to just use the water that we have between the units. And a lot of it also is because we're also carrying water to Texas as well. So we have to kind of make sure we maintain that. So we do have an awful lot of losses on the west side for sure. 70 CFS per day, that's 140 acre feet a day. That's quite a bit. On the east side, they're more like 14% loss on the east side. I guess the rest of the canals I would say are average around 14, but the west side is around 20 or so.
Can I add to that question? Mr. Francis, related to that issue, when Texas comes on early and stays later, are those losses changed at all? either up or down in any way? How would that?
They,
impact
they
you?
basically eat up, look, like their order today is 130. So when Texas goes by themselves without EBIDs helping push the carriage, their actual order diversion closer to 200 CFS to get, yeah, it gets, they have to order 200 to get about 130 down to the Louisiana West
So
or
when they
east.
come on early and stay on later, that's.
Yeah, they're eating that. It's recharging along the west side, but they are taking that charge.
Yeah.
And Mr. Esslinger, I believe we have done some infiltration studies on the west side. Would you like to comment on that at all?
Yeah, there's certainly, behind Stallman's all the way down to drop 5 or 6 to some heavy sandy bottoms of, the west side. So you're losing quite a bit of, seepage loss there. I think at one time 13 to 14% was, the average, just right in that area. A section is lined, but not all of it.
Yeah.
But, certainly that's an area where, perhaps with some of this, future funding, we can do some more good.
Yeah, historically, we've done seepage studies going back in the 90s, and one of the key measuring spots is at the gas line gauge, the gas line goes across. That's where we recorded the most losses in that little stretch right there. That's where a lot of losses were occurring.
Other questions on water operations? I would just like to commend your team, Mr. Narvaez. From my vantage point at the end of the Leesburg system, our order fill has been as good as it's ever been. Best I can tell, July and August of this year are the 2 highest diversion months that I'm aware of. At least since, the current staff have been keeping records in the way we have to meter that water. So also commend Leo and his staff for keeping the system at a high level of operation. I appreciate your continued efforts to improve the delivery efficiency of our system, to improve its ability for supply to meet demand. Thank you for your hard work.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good, like Mr. Lang comment, we started out really rough and hatch, everybody knew that, but through the middle and the end of the deal, James, we talked about this several times through there. It completely flipped over, we worked with Mike and them, and they just, to me, done as good a job as they've done ever. Boy, when we started out, they were rough on buck, but what I really commend y'all for is that y'all adjusted where you needed to make them. We fixed the places that were broken, and thank you. Ended up in the middle and the end very well, appreciate it.
Just thank you very much for that, and thank you as well. Just to throw this in there, had we not had that storm event in the middle of July, we probably would have broke July's record even more. I mean, just getting to 67,000 is okay. I mean, it's high, but I think we probably would have been closer to 7s because we significantly lost demand for like a week of July because of that storm that went through. So that did. I was hoping we were going to be higher, but no, that's kind of where we ended up.
We'll take the rain.
Yeah,
We will take the rain. Thank you very much, Mr. Narvaez.
thank you.
That brings us to, Mr. Essling.
With that said, Mr. President, I think, Eric is working with Patrick to give you perhaps next board meeting, results of what we were able to capture in some of our drains from that flooding.
Excellent. Thanks very much.
Great.
That brings us to general administrative. The first item is contract for professional legal services to Kennedy, Moulton, and Wells. Spyro, were you presenting that contract?
Yes, yes, there are actually 2 for your consideration. This one, I do not have presentations for. This one is for specialty personnel, legal representation. This firm is on this will be your 4 of 4. There are no price changes and no other term changes.
Thank you very much. Questions on the contract to Kennedy, Moulton, and Wells? There's none. I'll accept a motion to approve the contract. I move to approve the contract. I have a motion from Mr. Roby Rosa to approve the contract to Kennedy, Moulton, and Wells. Seconded by Mr. Garay. Any discussion? Hearing none, discussion is closed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? To the chair, the ayes have it, the motion passes unanimously. I will note that this is the final, renewal for this contract. Mr. Colquitt, if you would please put it on the agenda for your committee to start moving this into RFP as soon as possible.
Pete's probably not needed for this.
Whatever the process is, if you would please move that into your committee as soon as possible, so that we are leaning forward on this and not scrambling this time next year to, award another, whatever it is we need to award. Very good. That brings us to our next contract, which is for corrugated metal pipe.
Yes, this is also year 4 for a price agreement with Contact. The price did not change, the terms did not change.
Very good. So one of the things I noted in the price list, and this is their same price list from last year. I don't know how metal pipe's not going up when everything else is, but I'm pleased to have the same pricing for corrugated metal pipe that we had last year. I did have a question on shipping. So it seems to suggest that the shipping rate is $4.80 per pound per mile,
Yes.
which is something insane. I don't even know what that would be, $100,000 a mile for a piece of pipe.
No, I don't think corrugated metal pipe is quite that heavy, but what it ends up,
Whatever it is, but $4.80 per pound per mile.
it ends up being about $1,100 for a load of pipe, which depending on the diameter from Albuquerque to here. Now, if we get it from Phoenix, if it's that we ask for it from Phoenix, then we pay the shipping from Phoenix, which is obviously more, but if they do it so that they can meet our demand, we actually still get it for the 1,100.
So this shipping rate then is simply $4.80 per mile, not per pound per mile as it states in the description.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because I've never seen shipping quoted in per pound per mile.
No, they just need to be stricken from the contract. That's all.
It's 90 per mile.
It is.
If it's $1,100,
Yeah,
divided by 250 or something, that's about right.
very well. If you would have that, I believe it's the exhibit. Double check. It is the exhibit, it's the pricing sheet. If you get that clarified in the description, please, just so that the contract is clear. It's not per pound per mile, it's just per mile. Very good. Any other questions on the contract?
How much was it from Phoenix?
It was about twice. Give or take.
Sounds like a similar amount per mile.
Greg, I don't know what that per pound is, but I know when trucking companies get together, that you might wanna, I mean, you can strike it out of there. But I don't know if they'd take it away from it. Is it real heavy? Or to me, like you said, it's pretty light. If they hit 50,000 pounds on the load to come into here, have you ever weighed one?
I have not. I imagine they tell us what it is, but I have not noted what it is.
So have you ever heard the drivers complain about being overweight on that deal? I haven't either, not on something like
You're
that.
not gonna give away with that.
Well, but they still restricted on weight when they drive down the road, John, so of course, I would think unless they stuck stuff inside there, I don't know how much they go down.
I would just like the contract to state how they're charging us.
Yeah, well, I understand that, Greg, but at the same time, you might wanna consider why they have that in there. It may be a typo, it may be just a question, because I
If
know
they're
a lot,
charging us per pound per mile, they need the right number. If they're charging us per mile, they have the right number.
and it comes out that way. That other one may be in there as a safety net, but I'd ask.
You do strike it.
Is that clear, Ms. Byram?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the contract? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion to approve the contract.
I make a motion for the contract as amended.
I have a motion from Mr. Clayshall to approve the contract as amended.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Ludwig. Any further discussion? Hearing no discussion is closed. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the chair, the ayes have it, the motion passes unanimously. Is there anything else you have for us, Ms. Byron? I don't have anything else on the agenda.
There's nothing on the agenda. I did leave the cash flow sheet for your information for the
Thank you.
prior month.
Very good, thank you. That brings us to manager's update. Mr. Esslinger.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to put some things in here to allow you to know what they're just announcements, but the first one is a concern, certainly, there's the polls rulemaking on OSHA's heat standard. This is something coming that we all have to address if we have people working out in the field. So I put a copy into your agenda packet. It's pretty intense, all of the things that they are considering, but their new rules regarding heat injury and illness prevention due to new heat index reports that have been put out. And it's just methodology of how you might have to handle your employment out in the field where heat is becoming more intense. And so I thought it would be important for y'all to understand what's coming down the road. Some of it may change, some of it may be adapted as is. But clearly, there are some new standards that obviously EBID will have to take into account if they go forward. The second is an announcement. I was able to work with Tiffany Rivera, who was our lobbyist last year, and she brought to my attention the Ag Fest that's held every year in Santa Fe during the legislative session. And this coming year, it will be on February 5th of 2025 at the Convention Center there in Santa Fe from 6 to 9. And they asked if we wanted to participate, and so I asked them, I said, well, we have producers down here that would probably like to be presented there of the commodities that are grown down in this area. And I said, we could participate, or could we perhaps bring our irrigation trailer as a demonstrator of what we do down here? And she checked and we were able to get it, so we can actually bring our irrigation trailer into the convention center to demonstrate how we irrigate down here in the southern part of the state. So I was excited about that. And finally, I'd like to read to you an announcement that just came through recently. And again, a lot of the kudos go to the work that was done behind the scene to get this grant approved. But on August 1st, the USDA announced our partnership with the irrigation districts to help secure our water future in the American West. This partnership will support producers in using water efficient technologies while maintaining and increasing commodity production and consumption in the face of a continued drought. Through this effort, irrigation districts and producers will adopt innovative strategies to produce water-saving commodities, expanding and creating new market opportunities. USDA Farm Service Agencies is investing up to $400 million from the Commodity Credit Corporation in this effort that will help farmers produce commodities during drought through increased water efficiencies. And with that said, we were one out of 18 irrigation districts picked in the West to work on this project with the USDA. And some of the things that we will be working for is, in partnering with them, is working side by side with the U.S. Department of Ag. The district will in turn work with producers in the district to provide payments for voluntary reducing water consumption while maintaining commodity production. The needs of producers will determine the specific strategies for water conservation, including irrigation improvements, shifts in management practices, shifts in cropping systems, and other innovative strategies. USDA will learn from the diversity of strategies used and identify additional opportunities to maintain and expand water-saving commodity production in the future. USDA and our irrigation districts will work on finalizing agreements. The agreements will include the details of each individual district's water-saving strategies, commodities to be produced, and specific budgets. Following the finalization of the agreement, the district will work with producers in our district to participate. And certainly, what comes to mind is like our depletion reduction offset program is primary area where we could work with farmers in the area. So congratulations. $15 million coming to EBID and maybe even more if we can predict to show that our cooperation partnership is developing with USDA. And a lot of this came from discussions with the NWRA Irrigation Caucus and also with the Family Farm Alliance.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you. So. Ms. Copeland,
When do the funds hit the bank?
Not sure yet.
Okay, but all 15 in one tranche, bucket, slug, whatever?
so this is the initial announcement. There are many details yet to work out. But we are appreciative of the announcement.
Yeah.
There has been comments from the board about how do we find ways that we can directly assist the members of our district in both improving their operations and improving what we grant to the community. And here's the USDA has heard us. And it's heard the requests of other districts throughout the West, and I appreciate their effort and their strong commitment of $400 million to the West to help work on this. Thank you, Mr. Esslinger.
That's it. Mr. President.
Thank you. That brings us to engineering and maintenance. We have maintenance projects update, but I do not see Mr. Barrett present. Madam Secretary, it looked like you were. Do you have something to add about Mr. Barrett, or were you working something else?
No, I'm texting Juan. Juan's on his.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Mr. Esslinger on maintenance projects update.
Yes, I have one comment from Mr. Barrett. We were able and did receive our aquatic rake that we were testing to put on the and test on our laterals where we have an issue with horsetail or equisetum. And if you want to see the rake being operated right now, it's on the Mesilla lateral off of Snow Road, going south of Snow Road versus and it's where the Mesilla lateral dumps into the east side canal off of Richardson Road on and Snow Road and Richardson Road intersection. So there's we moved it there yesterday, so it's looking good.
Are you happy with it? Is it,
You know,
all that it's cracked up to be?
So far, it's looking pretty good. You know, we have to get an operator getting used to how to operate it, but we started over on the California extension last week. And in the beginning, he was just trying to figure out how to work the tool. And by the end of where he finished that particular lateral, you can see the bottom of his clears could be. We had raked out all of the horsetail in the bottom, put it out to the side. It's a little messy when you have to pull that stuff out.
Sure.
And we're having to deal with that issue, but I think, if you go down there and watch them work on the Mesilla lateral off of Richardson Road, you'll see what we're trying to accomplish there, and that seems to be working.
If you could do it over again, would you do it over again? Or is it maybe looks better than it tastes?
I think we're still exploring
Yeah.
that. There is some operator stuff. We need a full season to really see that because certain types of trash and, you know, just things that get in there, this will definitely help out with that.
I'm pleased with what I've seen. It's just, again, getting operator experience and having him understand how that tool operates. But it looks.
Jerry, how long do you expect control of the lab to be effective?
That's hard, you know, we're still this nematode, it just spreads, but it looks like, if we can yank it out the way we're doing, and keep it as a part of our weed control maintenance, I think we can eradicate this thing over time, this Ecclesia.
Mr. Roveros, at the risk of putting you on the spot, it sounds like this has been used in your neck of the woods. Have you seen its results?
I have not heard about the California extension where it's been used.
Very good. To respond to Mr. Ethlinger's description, given the choice between dealing with it in the water channel and dealing with the mess out of the water channel is the place to deal with the mess. Get it out of the water channel. Yeah, we've got a lot more options, and at the very least, it's not interfering with deliveries. I appreciate that report. I'm very interested in seeing how you feel about it this time next year. Anything else from me, Mr. Essinger?
No, sir.
Thank you very much. That brings us to special use permits. Mr. Caballero.
Good morning, everyone. All right, so we have a pretty quick one this month. We have 2 permits.
So before the presentation of permits, I will note that these is attributed to Mr. Sloan. Mr. Sloan is not present today.
Okay, first off, we have Stella Torres, 2024 LO82 to operate and maintain an existing culvert crossing at the Rincon Drain at approximate station 32/00. Moving on. We have Monte Vista Farms, James Sloan, 2024 LO84 to construct, operate, and maintain 4 harvest gates, 2 on the left bank of the La Mesa Drain at approximate station 502/00, 2 on the right bank of the Upper Chamberino lateral at approximate stations 99/40 and 115/91. And you can see in general over area of the 4 harvest gates. Staff does recommend approval of both permits. Any questions?
Questions on the 2 presented permits? Well, it looks like you're looking something up. I want to be sure I give you enough time. All right, hearing reader. That's fine. If you would like more time.
No.
Very good. With that, I will accept the motion to approve the permits.
Move that we accept those special use permits.
I have a motion from Mr. Garai to approve permits 2024 L082 and 084.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Colquitt. Any discussion? I will note for the, Mr. Roverosa.
In the packet, I don't see the second permit.
That is correct. The second permit is listed on the agenda, is listed on the license list. The application is not in the packet.
Oh,
It's presented on the screen.
My error, no problem.
Given that, would you like some more time to review that? While that's being reviewed, I will note for the record that Mr. Sloan is not present, so therefore he will not be abstaining. He will also not be voting. Any further review needed on the second license? I believe I had a motion for Mr. Garai. Did I have a second? I did, from Mr. Colquitt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, discussion is closed. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair, the ayes have it, and the motion passes unanimously. There is a Water Resources Committee report in your packet. There are no recommendations for the board. I won't bore you with reading it. Are there any questions from the Water Resources Committee? Hearing none, the report stands as presented. HR and safety update. Mr. Esslinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Currently, we have 78 employees working for the district. We have openings for an administrative assistant in the engineering department. A purchasing buyer, a service mechanic, equipment operators in the north, and 2 ditch riders in the north. And we're also holding 3 SCADA technician positions and a project engineer position that are on hold. We've transferred 2 of our irrigation and ditch riders over to maintenance, but that won't be until after the water season. We're testing right now open positions. And just currently, to give you an idea of the years of service, we have over 30 years of service, 4 employees working for us. 21 to 30 years, we have 13 employees. 10 to 20 years, we have 14 employees, and less than 10 years, we have 48 employees. That's the report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eslinger. Any questions on the HR and safety update? Mr. Franzo.
Just a comment, looking back at this, since we implemented our HR software and kind of the pay rate increases from last year, we were about 20% vacant positions around this time last year. And then after implementing those changes, we're, about 4 and soon to be significantly less than that once we fill these positions. So, great job by obviously HR and recruiting, but also the software and the changes the board made last year. We're seeing turnover at all-time lows. We're pretty much fully staffed up. So.
Thank you very much, Mr. Franzo. I appreciate you highlighting the utility of the software. In less than 2 minutes, can you expand on how the software is assisting us in retention?
So obviously the rate increases and being more competitive was the big driver. But software last year, well, there was no software, but we would post a job posting on EBID's website. If you didn't know that EBID was hiring, there was no way to really find out other than word of mouth. Now you post one job document and you go to LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, everything simultaneously. And so it makes your market reach much greater than what we've had historically.
Thank you, Ms. Franzoy. Any questions from Mr. Franzoy? I appreciate that update. Get back to the agenda, but I do believe that concludes the open session agenda. Having no further business, Mr. Ethlinger, is there anything else to report?
No, sir, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. With that, we do have an extensive closed session agenda today. I will accept the motion to go into closed session.
Motion so made.
I have a motion by Mr. Colquitt, seconded by Mr. Garai to go into closed session. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? To the chair, the ayes have it. The motion passes unanimously. We are in closed session. We are back in open session. I will note that no items were discussed in closed session other than those noted on the agenda. Is there any further business to be discussed today? Hearing none, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion so made.
I have a motion by Mr. Colquitt, seconded by Mr. Clayshult to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? In the chair, the yeas have it. The motion passes unanimously. We are adjourned.